Hey guys, welcome to my garden. This is the first garden tour that I'm sharing for this year and I feel like it's kind of late, but I wanted to give you a look at what my garden looks like. This is mid-July in Zone 5 here in Canada. So our garden is a little bit different this year. We are actually not going to be here towards the end of August and September, and so the garden is not fully planted. I'm not going to be preserving like I was, and I'm not growing anything that kind of takes longer than that to grow. So some of the beds are empty, which is kind of a little weird. I need to do a life update and share with you guys what's going on. But in the meantime, let's head inside and take a look at everything. So in the first bed here, I have celery and some nasturtiums. I started way too many celery plants. I sold some, but I still ended up with a lot. And so I just planted it here. It's doing okay. It's not fantastic, but it is still alive and green and growing. So I'm going to count that as a good thing. So I'm just going to continue working our way up this direction and then over here. So these two beds on the right here, they are actually empty. There is nothing in them, so we'll go have a look at the next one. So this bed here, I have potatoes. These are a mixed variety potato, colored potatoes. They seem to be doing quite well. The potatoes seem to be happy this year. And then on the other side here, I have green beans. These are the same ones that I planted last year that did fantastic, but I have had quite the issue this year. They keep getting eaten as they come up. So I've replanted them a few times and they're doing better now. So hopefully we'll have some beans soon. I didn't want as many beans. We still have beans in our freezer from last year. So I didn't want to do as many. And then right over on the side here, I don't know if you can see, that is a pea plant that came up on its own from last year. So I just left it. I thought, why not? These three beds here are pretty empty. So my son wanted to plant some purple bush beans, so there's some there. And then I just have nasturtiums and, oh, now I'm going to forget the name of them. Marigolds along here. I had planned to do squash and loofah and things like that up the trellises, but again, timing, there just wasn't enough time. In this bed here, I do have cucumbers climbing up the trellis here. These are pickling cucumbers. You can see one little one there. Again, there's only 3 plants, and I have 3 on the other side. Very few because I knew I wasn't going to be doing a lot of canning. We've really been struggling with, yet again this year, the cucumber beetle. So the plants are struggling, but I'm hopeful that I can stay on top of this and get them to grow better. In this bed here, I have some cilantro. I have 2 different lines of it. Some of it's starting to go to seed. It has just been warmer weather, which is kind of typical for July, so that's fine. These are just regular cucumbers here. They have really been struggling. You can see they do not look that healthy. We have had a ton of rain, which is normally pretty good for cucumbers, but again, those cucumber beetles have just decimated them, and I think they need some more fertilizer because they're getting quite a light color when they should be a much darker green color. Moving over to this bed here, I have a couple volunteer tomato plants from last year that have popped up. These are onions. They're doing better than they have in the past, but they're still not fantastic. I really struggle with onions. I'm not sure why. I have such a hard time with onions, but I'm hopeful maybe I'll get a few onions this year. They won't just all rot away. Over here, I have celery. This is kind of like the celery I had planned to plant just a little bit. Again, it's growing, but very slowly. You know, that's kind of how celery does it. The flowers, though, are doing beautiful. I love having color in my garden and bringing pollinators. It's just so pretty. I love cutting some of these and taking them into the house. This bed, I had planted spinach and bok choy. Unfortunately, we had some early, very hot days in June. The spinach all went to seed before I got to eat any. The bok choy got eaten, I think, by flea beetles. So right now, there's quite a few volunteer tomato plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. And the rest is just weeds that I've been trying to keep out from growing in the bed. But that's all that's in this one. This bed is all lettuce. Originally, I had spinach on this half, but again, it went to seed. And I'm surprised because Usually lettuce is something I really struggle with, and this year it's done really, really well, even despite the short heat periods. So we have 2 different types of lettuce here, a third type over here. These were actually plants that I got for free, and I thought, well, why not? I'll take some free lettuce and plant them, and they so far are doing really, really well. In this bed here, I have one of the same types of lettuce as the other bed, plus another kind. Again, these are all free, and so I just thought I'll take them. And then I have some carrots. I had some extra carrot seeds, and I thought they were older ones. Let's just try planting them. And so far, they're doing really well over here. Clearly, not all of them germinated. You can see there's like gaps and stuff, but that's okay. They're older seeds, like I said. Coming back down on the other side, I have carrots in here. I had planted carrots, and they didn't seem to come up, and so I planted a second planting, and then they all kind of came up. So there's a mix of 2 different types of carrots in here. I have been thinning them. I probably need to thin them a little more. And then on the other side here, I have more cucumber plants. These ones have really struggled. You can see one broke off right there even. I'm going to come and pick more cucumber beetles off of here in a minute. But just so many struggles for cucumbers this year. I don't know. Hopefully they will get better. The next bed here is empty everywhere except for one volunteer tomato plant from last year, some flowers, and again, the pickling cucumbers. There's a little one growing in the middle there. And then back to the very last trellis here. The pole beans, it was a rough start. They were being eaten again by something, but thankfully they have really greened up, grown, and they're starting to climb now. So these pole beans should be ready shortly after the bush beans over there are. I'm glad they're doing good. And then there's, again, just flowers. I planted the same thing, nasturtiums and marigolds inside the arches of every single arch, just to try and keep some pests away. The next bed is another potato bed. This is a different variety. These are all the same that are in here. They are doing really well. I am starting to notice a few, let's see if I can show you here, bites on here, the leaves, some holes. So keeping an eye. I haven't seen anything on them yet to kind of catch it and kill it, but it is starting to get some pest pressure. But so far, they're doing great. They are loving it this year, and I'm excited to have some potatoes. The next 2 beds here are quite sad. So these are green zucchini, and over there, these are the like summer squash, the yellow zucchini, what I call them. They are struggling so much. They were doing really well until I planted them. And then again, those cucumber beetles just decimated them. I lost, I think, 2 plants altogether. I planted a few new ones from seeds. They're still struggling. I have yet to get a zucchini. I do have one that I just hand pollinated there, so I'm hoping that we'll get some zucchini soon. Look at this one right here, right in the middle. That poor plant. It's just completely dying. The last bed towards the door at the front here is empty, and so is this one. They are just empty. This garden bed here has tomatoes as well as basil in them. I ended up with a lot of tomatoes. Well, not a lot, way less than normal, but a few more than I had space for in like the greenhouse space. So I just planted this one bed of them. There's some growing over there, so far they're doing well. And the basil, we've been enjoying pesto already quite a bit. Now, despite this being covered, this is all cabbage. I had started cabbage in the house. I planted them all out. I had both green and red cabbage, and something got in and ate them all. I couldn't believe it. So I had some seeds, and I was frustrated. I just scattered them and thought, we'll see what comes up. Well, a lot. So I'm going to have to thin them out, but I am not doing it yet. I want to wait until they get more mature and see what kind of happens. I see, you can see over here, that looks like a purple cabbage still. And there might be one more, but the rest are all the green ones. I think they're Copenhagen. So I can see the leaves being eaten a little bit, again, despite having the netting on them. I'm going to wait probably quite a bit longer before I thin them out. The next bed over has potatoes. This is a third variety. I believe, I'm trying to remember, I think I did the earliest variety here, and then the next one. And then the mixed one was like a mix of timing. So they're doing well. They are happy this year, and I'm happy that they are happy. Over here, I have another bed of onions. This side seems to be doing better than the other one. Still not fantastic, but there are a few bigger ones, which is probably bigger than I've ever had before. So I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that these onions again will produce for me. This bed here is mostly garlic, and then I had kale on this side. Some volunteer tomato plants from last year have popped up. This has been a struggle. So the garlic over here, I got my garlic bulbs late, and so these ones are all a variety I haven't done before. They're quite small, and you can tell that compared to the other one I'll show you in a minute. Something got in. I had it covered. I've got my netting down here. Despite it being covered, right from when I planted the kale, something got in and ate the kale. There's a couple that have come back up, but we have had no kale this year, and it's just so frustrating. Here's that other bed of garlic. So you can see these ones over here are music, just about halfway, and then that other variety I haven't grown before. I think they were called Russian something. I'll have to go back and look. Unfortunately, despite being covered, they got leek moth, which is so frustrating. I think they just got too tall for the covers, and so the leek moth was still able to get on them. I think I'm on top of it now. We shall see. I've just ended up pulling the covers off. I just said, whatever, just pull them off. I have a few more garlic scapes I can see I need to go in and pull, but so far we've eaten one garlic bulb. I pulled it out to have a look, and it's growing really well. This bed has been such a disappointment. This is supposed to be beets, and I planted them. They started to come up, and then something like ate them, like just full on took them all out in one night, and I don't know what. We have fencing all the way around, and we have doors. I don't know what happened. So I replanted them. They started to come up, and again, they're almost all gone. I believe most of this is weeds. There's, I think, 2 beets left in this whole bed. It is just so disappointing because we love beets so much. And we've had great beets before. It's odd. These are our perennial beds. We've got the strawberries, which are at their height right now. They are just doing fantastic and going crazy. And then we've got rhubarb, garlic chives, and green onions over here. They're all doing well. I did divide some of them this year, so they're kind of recouping from that. But yeah, they're doing great. We have had some issues with slugs, but not as bad as last year, and I'm trying to stay on top of it, which I think is helping. The last spot I'm going to share with you down here is our greenhouse, and then I'll go up on the deck and show you the rest. So this year I decided to do peas in these buckets just because we only plant enough peas to have snacks for the kids, which they have been snacking a lot. They're doing really well. So I have one variety for these first 3 here, and then a second variety in those 3, and they get more sun as well, so they're quite a bit smaller, more bushier. But these ones particularly that are more in the shade, they have just been doing fantastic. You can get an idea of just how much they're producing. My son already came and picked a whole couple handfuls this morning to eat, but there's still lots on there. So the last spot here is the greenhouse, which did have the cover on it earlier in the season, but then part of the door zipper broke, and we had bad wind, and then it was just so hot. We were in the 30s. It was just too hot in here anyway, so I ended up just taking the cover off. It saves me having to water when it rains for the rest of the garden, and so far everything's doing okay. So we'll start at the back here. I think the easiest way is just to stay out here and show you. So at the very back there, I have some tomato varieties. I believe that's a beefsteak on this side. I only have a few of them, and then some capsicum, like regular peppers. In the second one there, I have, again, more capsicum, peppers, and tomatoes. I'm trying to remember which variety that was. I don't remember offhand. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen here. And then this one here is, again, another variety of tomato with basil. Lots and lots of basil, which seems to be doing quite well. I have only 2 tomatillo plants, and they are really struggling, which is weird because in the past they've done really well. But you can see like this one has dropped all its leaves. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sad because when we had them 2 years ago, we had 1 plant and we had so many tomatillos, but they are just really struggling this year. At this side over here, we have, again, just a couple tomatoes. I need to support this one, as well as habanero, hot peppers, and they're doing okay. It was rough for a little while with the tomatoes. They were struggling with the changes in temperature, the extremes. We had a few really cold nights followed by some really hot days, but they all seem to be doing a bit better now. In this bed here I have, again, a different variety of tomatoes. I think these are my Romas, if I remember correctly. I have one jalapeno plant. It is such a disappointment because we had such great jalapenos last year. We recently, like just recently, finished eating all the ones I had frozen. But the plants, they just did not want to germinate. I tried it, I think 2 or 3 times. I only ended up with a couple. I have one up on my deck, one here, and that's it. And it's so disappointing. Then I have a ghost pepper plant. This was one that I got for free as well, and I thought, let's give it a try. So it is in here with them as well. And the last one here I have, I believe they're the cherry tomatoes, or a mix. I'd have to go back and check the tags. And then I have candlelight peppers, which are doing really well. They're already producing and we've been eating them, which we love them. So that's delicious and exciting. Okay, let's go up on my deck now and I'll show you everything else. So up on my deck here, I have a few plants as well. So I'll go through them with you. I know the lighting is not ideal. Hopefully you can just stay with me for that. So here I have 5 different tomato plants. They're each a different variety. I wanted to keep one up here just to make it easier, like when you just want to grab a tomato real quick, but also just to see how they did in the pots. And so far they're doing really well. You can see there's already a bunch growing on multiple plants. And over here I have chives and garlic chives that I separated. They are slowly coming back, but they're doing okay. Next I have these potatoes. They were just some extra ones that I had, and so I went ahead and planted them in here, and they're doing well. Some are blooming already. These 3 rectangular ones are all raspberries. I've had them for a number of years. I know they need to be planted in the ground so badly. One day they'll get to that. These are herbs, so there's dill, cilantro, and basil. I did have rosemary and I think thyme in there. I'm not sure if you can see. Something came digging one night and they didn't survive, unfortunately. Next I have this, it's supposed to be peppermint. It's super, super mild though, so I'm not sure if it's just not quite ready yet or what, but I definitely did not want to plant that just in the garden because I knew it would go absolutely everywhere. Then I have a planter of peppers. I've heard that if you plant peppers together, they do better, so I thought I'd give it a try. So up here I have a candlelight, I think that's habanero, jalapeno, and one of the Carolina Reapers that I got for free. And so they're just all in there together. So far it's doing really well together. Then I've got the rhubarb over here that I separated. Something's been eating its leaves, unfortunately, but hopefully it will get better as time goes on. And then we have our 2 blueberry plants, which I'm still so in love with, and they're already fruiting. And we will have blueberries soon, which is exciting. So there's a look at everything that I have on my deck. Oh, nope, missed one. I have some lettuce over here too, which something also came digging in. But I have it on this side just so it gets less sun, so it doesn't bolt. But again, the lettuce has done quite well this year, which is surprising. Thanks so much for coming along on this garden tour. Let me know in the comment section down below, how is your garden doing? Are you having challenges like me, or are your beets growing this year? Because mine certainly aren't. Any other questions, comments, leave them down below as well. I always enjoy hearing from you and getting your comments, and otherwise I hope this finds you having a great day. Take care.